Zwom. Doot, 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 doot. BMO. Hello everyone and welcome back to another BMO Creative crypto video. This one is scary. It's about a creature called the Windigo, and it's very wordy, so play close attention, maybe even watch it twice, okay? Here we go. Windigo is a supernatural being originally belonging to the spiritual traditions of the Algonquin-speaking First Nations people of North America. Wendigos are described as powerful monsters that have a desire to kill and eat human victims. In most versions of the legend, a human becomes a Wendigo after his or her spirit is corrupted by greed or weakened by extreme conditions such as hunger and cold, and they choose to become cannibalistic. Various indigenous traditions consider Wendigos dangerous because of their thirst for blood and their ability to infect others that are otherwise healthy people in communities. The Windigo legend existed in Algonquin oral histories for many centuries, long before Europeans arrived in North America. The first European written account of a Windigo was by Paul Lejeune, a Jesuit missionary who lived among the Algonquin people for a long time in the early 17th century in what is now Quebec, Canada. In a report to his superiors in 1636, Lejeune wrote about a woman that had turned into a Windigo and had eaten several people, including indigenous natives and some soldiers from a French fort that were tracking her. He said he wouldn't have believed it if he hadn't seen it for himself. Stories could also be found in the western frontier in the 1800s among the Plains indigenous peoples and employees of the Hudson Bay Company, HBC. We've all heard of them, right? Some HBC traders' records describe encounters with indigenous spiritual leaders in fits of religious passion, telling them how to avoid becoming Wendigos. Indigenous peoples often accuse HBC and other white traders of being future Wendigos because of their greed, their tendency towards theft and greed. In some cases, community members or relatives of the accused killed the suspected future Wendigos as a precaution. Wow. In one example, 3 men killed a Cree spiritual leader, here he is, Abishabas, after he became greedy and killed an indigenous family and ate them, which led others to believe that he was becoming a Wendigo. His body later vanished, however, which makes me think he was a skinwalker and not a Wendigo. Wendigos are described as exceptionally thin, with the skull and skeleton pushing through their skin. The Wendigo gets proportionately larger in some stories the more they eat, but they never get full. According to other legends, the Wendigo has pointed or animal-like ears with antlers or horns sprouting on its head. A Wendigo's eyes have been described as sunken and glowing like hot coals. Sharp and pointy teeth, extremely bad breath, and body odor are also often traits of the Wendigo. The Wendigo is usually, but not always, endowed with powers such as superhuman strength and stamina and senses that allow it to stalk, overpower, and devour its victims. They are said to move with the speed of the wind and have the ability to walk across snow or mud without leaving tracks, and can swim underwater without breathing. According to some legends, Wendigos can be killed with conventional weapons, but other legends claim that the Wendigo has to be somehow subdued, its icy heart ripped out and melted down in a roaring fire. Still other legends claim that the only way to kill them is a knowledgeable First Nations spiritual leader or shaman can dispatch Wendigos with specific ceremonies. Based on some of the eyewitness accounts and descriptions of the creatures, I think they are often misidentified with skinwalkers, Sasquatch dogmen, or even goatmen. Wendigo are extremely rare and extremely dangerous, much more rare and dangerous than these other creatures. An interesting fact is that in the early 20th century, the term Wendigo found its way into the Western medical vocabulary. It was used by early psychiatrists to refer to the mental condition in which patients felt possessed by cannibalistic desires. Oblate missionary J.E. Sondane was the first to use the term in the 1920s while working in a Cree community in the western James Bay area. There he met a woman who claimed that she saw strangers who wanted to kill and devour her, and so to keep them away, she killed and ate other people, leaving some for these strangers to eat. Sandern referred to the woman's mental condition as a cannibalistic psychoneurosis, a mental or behavioral disorder characterized by depression and anxiety and cannibalistic tendencies. Over time, the condition came to be known as the Windigo psychosis. However, whether this is real affliction or not is still highly disputed discussion among medical communities. The Windigo. Quite creepy. Thank goodness. Supposedly they're very, very rare. Well, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.